Hi, today we're going to be going over how to repeat items in a list. Lists are very useful in programming, especially for storing lots of different types of data. And you'll see lists used quite a bit in some of the more advanced tutorials. Here's a very basic example where the cat is simply going to walk through the list and say each item. So, how do we do this? Well, let's create a demo from our tutorial from the beginning and take a look. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create a list. Let's create this list and call it the talk list. These will be the different things that the cat is going to say. Now if we want to add items to the list, we could do it manually or we could do it through the program. For right now, let's do it manually. You can click on the little plus button on the bottom of the list to add an item. And if you add too many items, like for example what I just did there, you can click on the little X here to remove an item. So this is great. We have a list with 5 items on it, but how do we actually go through this list? Well, the next thing we need to do is we need to create a variable called an index. And that will represent the current item that we're on in the list. So first things first, we want to start at the beginning of the list. So the beginning of the list, the first item is item number 1. The end of the list, the last item, is item number 5. And lists give you a few different things that you can use to see what items are in the list and the length of the list. For example here, length of, if we double click on it, you can see that there's 5 items currently in the list. And the other thing that's useful is you can use item of to see what items currently at a certain position of the list. So you can see item 1 is hello, and we can say item 5 should be cat. And look at that, it's cat. So if we want to go through each item of the list, we need to use something called a repeat loop. So we want to repeat, or repeat until. So we want to repeat until we reach the end of the list. Well, how do we know we've reached the end of the list? Well, one thing we could do is if we say that index is greater than the length of the list, then we're done going through the list. So let's have our cat say which is the current item in the list. That way we could see which item we're on. And we'll want to add a little bit of a weight, otherwise the cat's just going to say everything in the list so quickly we won't even see it. And then finally, we need to increase index. So we need to, instead of using a set, we need to change the index by 1. So what this will do is it will start the index out at 1, and then it will go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, go to 5, and then finally go to 6. And once index is 6, 6 will be greater than 5, which is the length of the list, and we'll stop going through the list. So let's take a look. All right, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions.